Our next conversation today is with Kevin McCarney of Mesa County. He is running for the chairmanship of the Colorado Republican Party, formerly led the Republican Party there in Mesa County. Kevin, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thanks for doing this.
So I'm asking everybody running for this position the same first question to start off. What is your honest assessment of the state of the Colorado GOP, and where could you get it by 2026?
Well, I think there's a tremendous opportunity for the Colorado GOP. The state of the GOP right now is not as good as it could, but we have a tremendous opportunity in 2026 to change things around just because of what our opponents are doing. There are things that they're hurting themselves, and I'm ready to take advantage of that.
You'll hear a lot of Republicans say some version of that they think the Colorado Democrats have overreached. That said, I mean, there's a pretty significant red shift in 2024 that didn't really translate to Colorado. Why do you think that was?
I think that was because of who was leading our party. I really do. I think that we had an opportunity to do things that we chose not to, because when your party is involved in trying to lessen the people involved in it, you're never going to be successful.
So I get the feeling that this chair race, and there's likely to be multiple rounds of voting, is going to come down to probably somebody who is a lot like the current chairman, Dave Williams, and his brand of politics, which is kind of, I guess you might call addition by subtraction. You know, he wants to purge folks out of the party who don't agree with him. And then somebody who's kind of more of people say establishment Republican in kind of a derisive way, but somebody who harkens back to more of the Colorado Republican tradition of a few years ago. Seems like you're firmly in that camp of folks who's more like Republican leaders of 5 years ago. Here's my question to you. What makes you think that party insiders are ready for a turn away from Dave Williams' style of leadership?
I think that we've gotten that. We've seen that with the stuff that went on last summer, where a significant number of the Central Committee, which would be a Dave Williams backers, a significant number of them wanted to change, could see what was happening. I think that overall, if we were talking to the 900,000 Republicans voting in Colorado, I think they'd be ready for a change towards traditional Republican values, and that's what I think we've lost. I ran Mesa County pretty straightforward. It was, if you want to run for office, tell me you want to run for office, and then it's up to you. It's not up to a group of people in the Central Committee, and it's not up to a group of people here. It should be up to the voters of Colorado who's going to decide represent us. And I think we've gotten away from it.
When you talk about the voters and who should be picking who's running, do you think that Colorado Republicans should try and close their primary to unaffiliated voters?
I think that can't be done because of the cost. I looked at that when I first got chairman of Mesa County, because I'm like, we need to have control of our primary, and it would cost $250,000 to $400,000 to do it just in Mesa County. We're never going to be able to raise that type of funding. I think statewide we're talking about $5 million. We can either fund our candidates or we can fund a closed primary, but we're never going to be successful at that. We send the wrong message. We should be sending a message of inclusion, and instead we say, well, we don't want you to vote right now, but 6 months from now we want you to vote for it. That's just not a successful sales message, and I'm a salesperson. I would never use that.
What do you say to Republicans who say that so long as Republican primaries are open to unaffiliated voters, you're going to get squishy middle-of-the-road candidates, you're not going to get true conservatives?
I don't think that's true at all. I think that 40% of those squishy, unaffiliated people are conservative. And we ignore that. We allow people to say, well, those are all Democrats. They're not. In Mesa County, 60% of the unaffiliated are Republican because of how the population breaks down. And we have a chance to grow the party with those 40 to 45% of people that are unaffiliated.
Chairman Dave Williams and his allies in the party led an effort to endorse in Republican primaries, which was unprecedented in recent history. They got smoked like brisket in the process. 15 of their 19 endorsed candidates lost. Would you want the party to continue endorsing in contested GOP primaries?
No, I think that's wrong. I think that it's the job of the voter, and it's the job of those candidates to convince the voters to win elections. It's not my job. It's not anybody else's job to try to sway. Uh, and it tried to, people wanted me to do that here in Mason County, and I wouldn't do it. And I just look at them and like, look, your job is to convince the voters, and if you can convince the voters, then I have to back you because you're the Republican candidate, and that's my job. I think we've lost sight of that.
What did you think when you heard GOP Chairman Dave Williams echo some of the hateful rhetoric of Westboro Baptist Church in reference to gay people and call for the burning of all pride flags? What did you think when you heard and saw that?
I was tremendously angry. Um, I don't believe that young men should be playing in women's sport. I used to be an official, basketball, volleyball. Was a very good volleyball official. The reason I don't do it anymore is the chance that I might have to choose to referee for a person who has an advantage because of their biological makeup. But I would never. And again, I think there's a way to get around that and say let's just do this. Let's make a third version of high school sports and college sports, and you play in that open vision if you want to do that. I don't think it's fair to do that, but I would never, ever do what he did. That was so hurtful for us and so insulting.
You probably know Tina Peters better than any
I
of the
do.
other candidates in this race. I mean, I
You
remember
are
years ago,
exactly right.
2021, you called her a friend. You said you were going to stand with her all the way. A couple of years later, I remember you saying that you were ticked off because she was trying to get you to keep a race clear for her. She's
Yes.
now in jail, headed for prison, and it is the position of the Colorado Republican Party that she is a political prisoner who should be freed. What do you think of Tina Peters?
So I was neutral when Tina was running as a candidate in Mason County, but once she switched to the state, I wrote a letter to the Post-Dispatch describing everything, got a big write-up on it, and of course, pissed everybody off. But I think she broke the law, and I think she's never been responsible, is her whole thing. When I was chairman in 2020, and she was in charge of the local election before the 2020 election, so April, she forgot to collect one of the ballot boxes. And it wasn't her who did it, but she's the chairman. She's got to be responsible for things, and she never accepted responsibility. Um, I tried to stand by her because I had to stand by her at that point because I did see a pattern of the people who were trying to get rid of her, the person who investigated her, Fife, or not Fife, but Miss Symington. She had in her own office, she had $180,000 stolen by one of her employees. So how can you come in and judge someone else when you've had that in your own uh, office? I supported Tina up to the point where she went crazy, and she did. I don't know how you explain stealing someone's ID, breaking into the elections office, all the things that she did. I never got an explanation on that. I stayed neutral because there was a race going on, but once she went statewide, I published what I published. So
How about her situation now? I mean, you've got multiple candidates for chair in the Colorado Republican Party calling for her to be freed. People are talking about the Trump administration withholding funding from Colorado until she's freed. She's become like the centerpiece of your party.
and it irritates me because she is not telling the truth, and they are not telling the truth of what Tina Peter did to Mesa County. There is not an elected official in Mesa County that will support Tina Peters. Not one. And there hasn't been for 4 years now. And so I have a real problem with this whole free Tina until she stands up and said, you know, what I did was wrong. You know, stealing someone's identity is not right. And I've expressed that opinion to almost everybody. Hey, you're standing with Tina. You have decided that Identity theft is fine. Breaking and entering into the elections office is fine. Those are not right. We're supposed to be the party of law and order. We're not now. How can we claim it?
Last question for you, Kevin. What is a winning message for Colorado Republicans today?
I think the winning message needs to step back to the regular people. I'm a regular person. I work for a living 40 hours a week. My wife works for a living 40 hours a week. We work hard to get ahead. And I think if we can talk to those people and say, you know what, the problems that you are having problems with are the problems that we have problems with. We cannot be the whatever party that Dave has taken us to. We've got to be realistic. We've got to stand for regular people. I think the winning message for us in 2026 is the regular people, the people that are ranching, the people that are mining, the people that are working for a living. Those are our people, and we need to support them.
Kevin McCarney, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Hope we can talk again.
No problem. Anytime you'd like to.